Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to go over Dengeki Bunko coming out for English Weiss Schwarz. The pre-orders last until June 7th. I'm going to go over why this could be potentially the biggest trap on the English Weiss Schwarz side of this year. You're going to see JP prices. You're going to see the sealed. You're going to see cards, why it's different from other Bunkos, and how Bushiroad can improve. Out on eBay, you're going to see the booster box for $40. You're going to see trial deck case for $450 and roughly $40 for a trial deck display. Just know that there are two versions of trial decks. There's a girl side and a boy side, or otherwise called Weiss or Schwarz. Now, if you take a look at the Bunkos, you may be thinking that these Bunkos are exactly the same. Now, take a look at Fujimi, take a look at Sneaker, look at the characters, look at the art that's on there. Now, take a look at the left and see Dengeki. What's different about what's happening art-wise? On the Japanese side, this was released on September 1st. English releases October 25th. 100 type of normal cards, 100 type of parallels. You have 64 special rare signature cards. They have voice actor, illustrators, and author signatures on them. 86 super rares, 15 double rares, and 51 going first, going second. Though the 51 going first, going second will be Japanese only. There are a lot of IPs in the set, 51 to be exact, 64 signatures in the booster box. You can find them right here on the screen, but if you actually want to read them, go out to the product page on the Weiss Schwarz site just to see what's exactly in the trial decks and what's inside of the booster box. I did that just to show you that there was a ton of IPs in there. This set has so much stuff going on for it. One of those things going on is 86, one of my favorite animes in recent memory. Take a look at the art. It is amazing. Take a look at the signatures. You can see the differences between the author, illustrator, and voice actor. The one downside is the fact that there are parallels for everything and that they use the exact same art. On one side, it's nice that people get a budget option. The other side of it, for me personally, is I love the art. I would have loved to see two versions of the art. That would be very nice and support the price of the cards. Speaking of price of the cards, inside of here, one of the biggest downfalls of this set is 64 SPs inside of the booster box, but they only give you 3 per case. It was insane. I remember talking about this. I'm like, they better have 5 or 6 in here, but nope. They only have 3 per case. If you are a seller, if you are a ripper, and people found those 3 already, you were completely screwed on the actual case because some of the other cards were devastatingly low, and that is because of the difference in the IP and of the art. You can also say playability as well. So I did an average here for you of all the 64 cards. We end up with 13,954. This comes off of Yuyute. Of course, there are cards sold out, so you can bump up the price of that if you so choose. 3 times that amount gives us 41,862 yen. If you want to use an American equivalent, dollar-wise, 268. But anyways, I would prefer to use 418 because that's how it normally turns out when it comes over to the English side. 44 out of 64 cards sold out. You can blame the 3 out of 64 per case for that whole reason. But at the same time, if you take a look, what you're going to see throughout this video is the fact that there was a lot of this actually purchased. There is a lot of this that still currently exists out there in the world. You also could see prices like that one in the middle, first acceleration, 3480 yen. There are some cards that are really, really, really low in price because not everybody likes all these IPs. Not everybody likes all these characters, and not everybody loves the art that are on these actual cards. Now, flipping over here to the Weiss side trial deck, what you're going to see is 3 special rares, 17 triple rares. You're going to see 3 voice actresses' signatures, and you're going to also notice the fact that this is the girl version because all of these were girls on there when you take a look at the signatures, when you look at some of the art, and also these cards. Now you can see it inside of a trial deck case. You're going to see 2 SPs average 82.53 yen. 2 SPs would be 16,506. American equivalency dollar wise is 105.68. Again, I would use 165.06 as the dollar amount. But in any case, if you go back to that trial deck case that I showed you earlier, you're going to be like, yeah, that's exactly why these trial deck cases are not that expensive, because you have SPs inside of it that are not expensive. You do have a triple rare though that is playable, which means that this thing is going to be, you know, semi-expensive. 3480 is what it currently sits at. Now flipping over to the dude version of the trial deck, same setup, same idea. You have 3 guys with SPs, and these are the 3 guys that you got. Notice that there are some that are sold out, but anyways, average 46 yen. 2 SPs then leads you to $92, $92.93 dollar wise. That's 59.50, which is pretty awful. So I showed you the trial deck case of the girls. Imagine what the dudes would look like. Not so great. Now think about the art. I'm going to show you here the top 3 from the booster box. They have different rarities, so I can't just do SP, 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 and then like FBR versus, you know, whatever Sneaker Bunko equivalent is, because Dengeki only had SPs. So I just picked out the top 3 from each set as shown on Yute. And you're going to notice some differences, right? Left is Dengeki, in the middle is Fujimi, and on the right is going to be your Sneaker Bunko. So you have characters, you have art, but this is going to drastically change as I keep moving forward. So number 2 rank, you have on the left, again, still same order, Dengeki, in the middle, Fujimi. On the right is going to be your Sneaker. Actually, I messed this up. It's going to be Sneaker Bunko's in the middle, right is your Fujimi, and on the left is Dengeki. That's like some sort of quiz on myself that I didn't even try. But you can see the differences in art. It's different. Now, this one here, this is going to be your last version of the booster box. What you're going to notice here is on the left is SAO. We got Asuna, which, you know, normally fetches for lots of money. But if you compare her to the different arts from different sets, drastically different. In the middle is going to be your Fujimi. On your right is going to be your Sneaker. Now, what do you say about that? So we've seen some kind of amazing art from Sneaker at this point. Now here's your trial decks. You see this one on the left before. In the middle is going to be your Fujimi. On the right, I didn't even put the whole card on here. That's going to be your Sneaker Bunko. Do you notice the differences between what's happening here? Now, here are your super rares. This is for Dengeki. Again, just take a look at the characters. Take a look at the art. You can look at the prices. You can see what's sold out, what's still there. It's a lot of stuff that is still there, and that the whole reason for that again is character. You have art, but the amount that was actually open, the sheer volume of it. Here's going to be your Fujimi. You see a bunch more of these have actually sold out, but the art on here completely different. And lastly is going to be your Sneaker Bunko. Same idea. If you want to see the rest of the card, it's down there in the bottom right, but yeah, it's just differences. Here's your trial deck, or here is, it's not your trial deck, here are your double rares. Reason why I put this on here is, remember with Dengeki, there are 15 double rares, and what you would hope for as a person that's opening this is that, you know, you get a good amount of value out of your higher rarities, but hopefully there's something that people want to play with, right? That you could resell some of these singles. As you can see, again, because of the volume that was opened, that's not going to be the case. You're not going to be able to just sell a bunch of these singles and recoup your money. You can hope to sell playsets, but you have to compete in the playset market that already exists out there. Same thing with Fujimi. The amount of dollar wise right here, or yen wise, I guess you could say here, was depressed because of the sheer volume and playability. Sneaker, same thing. You can see this here. You do have that Megumin right there at 500 yen. That's completely sold out. But in the end, this is what you're looking at. This is what you're going to get into if you should order Dengeki Bunko. You're going to have to hope that you get lucky on the 3 out of 64. That you don't pull some of those really bad ones, that you get some of the nicer cards inside of the set, because when you look at other ones that should support the value, you're not going to find it with how much was actually purchased. Again, I mean, when it comes to the English side, maybe people already know this and they're going to steer away from it, right? Sellers got destroyed on this because so many people bought into it, so many people were looking to sell it. There's so many people that bought these cards. Now they're staring at like 50% off values, right? Like when it comes to cards, when it comes to sealed, it put a lot of people off, and so is the case always when they do these releases, when people don't think that it's coming out for English and then magically appears. I mean, you just think about Marvel. How many people at this point now said, crap, I bought all these Marvel cards thinking it would never come out to English, and here we are in English, and people are trying to sell it for lower than what they got. So same thing here with the trial decks. You could see if you don't want the SPs, you don't want the higher rarities on here, of course the expected value is going to drop and these things are going to be sold at these lower prices. It is very sad that this happened this way. I think it's one of those ones where if they would have used alternate art, if they would have added more of the Fujimi, more of the sneaker Bunko type art on here, it could have saved this set. If they could have added more hits inside of the booster box case, that would have been really great, but they didn't, and they really should think about doing that soon. I also stress the fact that they should be doing these dual releases. The reason why the dual release would be really nice is because, right, when people purchase this, we have not hindsight, but foresight. We know how this played out on the Japanese side, right? So if you don't like any of these sets, if you're just person playing for meta, you want to win tournaments, right? You may not be picking up this unless you went to Shana. You may not be picking this set up completely because of the fact that you already know how it plays, right? So you pay for single cards instead of playsets. Imagine what happens if this releases at the same time. You have to actually take the gamble as a player to just buy into the set because you know what? You might actually have to buy a set because you actually love it. I know people do. I'm not saying that people don't buy a set because they love the IP. That happens all the time where people will buy it. But there's other people that sit on the fence waiting to see how JP does in order to buy the English. This would also help sellers out because they won't get destroyed when the English version gets announced, right? You could just buy the English side. You don't have people now quitting the game because they felt like they got screwed over. You don't have sellers dropping out because now they have to take 50% losses on their product and just say screw Bushiroad at this point. You see what I'm getting at? Even though Weiss Schwarz does these kind of releases and they think they can make more money this way, I think that's a short-term gain. In the end, it's going to hurt their long term because you have people dropping out. You have lower interest. Just take a look at people looking at this game in general, people looking at videos on this game, posts on this game. It's not as high as it was past couple years, and Bushiroad has not pivoted whatsoever. And now you have competitors coming out in the anime card space. Now, what are they going to do? Now, take a look at the stock price here. The one on the left was just the reason why I put this one on here is the past month. You can see what's going on. They dropped some numbers for the quarter on May 15th. You can see it was 381 on May 14th, then dropped down to 344. Now you have to ask yourself why this actually happened. And we won't know until a month out when they give us more details on the actual quarter. But look over the entire year. So 52-week high was 944. 52-week low is 338. I used 344 since I was looking at what happened on May 15th. That gives you a dollar amount of $2.20. I thought Bushiroad's stock was more than that, but I guess I was wrong on all of that. We'll see what happens if the card amounts, like the amount of sales have gone up, gone down. I feel like it's definitely gone down, but that's just a feeling. We'll see when the actual numbers come out here. But I think preservation wise, I would hope that they would do some of these changes in the future. I don't know it. I mean, they've disappointed me a bunch of times when it comes to the product releases, when it comes to the announcements. You heard my last one. I was just super disappointed. I've been disappointed over the last entire 2023. Outside of like Azure Light and Hollow Live, it's just been not so great. So if you need me for anything, feel free to reach out to any of these places that it listed on the screen. It's in the description as well. But as always, have fun, be happy, and don't spend anything outside your budget. Have a good one.